So, Fitness Files is back with another podcast.
Every single week, we're here.
It's cold.
It's freezing out, bro. It's
like
November 10th now here in
New York,
and it's getting cold out here, bro. It's getting pretty cold. We're in my garage right now.
Yeah.
We got the heater behind us.
It oscillates.
Yeah. So, we're doing a good podcast today. I am so excited for this. I'm literally pulling my sleeves up as it is 30 degrees outside. We're doing lean bulk versus dirty bulk.
Yeah.
This is going to be passionate. So basically, lean bulk versus dirty bulk. It's not really a versus. We don't agree with the dirty bulk.
Not one bit.
Okay. We are, and me personally, I don't agree with the calling it a lean bulk because I don't think it's a bulk in the first place. But we'll go into a little pro and con, lean versus dirty. We'll run through the lean ones first, and then we'll really focus more on the dirty. So, lean bulk. What is our basis for lean bulk? What lean bulk?
So basically, you just want to keep a lean body composition year round, and while you're
Muscle
doing
to
this,
fat proportion, body composition.
yes. While you're doing this, you just either plan to get stronger or put on more muscle mass.
And I say that I don't agree with the fact that it's called a lean bulk because you don't get bulky at any point. It's just, I call it it's just a growing phase. It's a growing phase where you're in the gym and you're working out, progressing. That's it. You're getting stronger. You're putting on muscle. You're not getting bulky. So, now the way that we format it is small caloric surplus.
Yeah.
Where
So you want to explain it?
I was just gonna say a dirty bulk would be a large surplus where your macronutrients come from the wrong places, but small surplus. What are we looking for?
So a small surplus, it could be,
and that just meaning that you eat a little bit more than you burn.
yeah, it's just the definition of anything in a surplus, just a little more of whatever. So usually we'd go 100 or 200 calories. You
Per
experiment it with a little bit.
Per day.
So if you see 100 calories really isn't doing anything, you push it up to 150. If 150 is not doing anything, then you go 200.
And it should.
Yeah.
It really, if you're like a huge guy, then or a huge girl, then it won't. But it should. And this is based on the proportion that 3,500 calories is equal to 1 pound of fat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to surplus, which you'd never really surplus that in a day, but if you were to surplus 3,500 calories in a week or 2 days, if you eat like garbage, you'll gain 1 pound of pure fat. So I say that you can grow, you can do this lean bulk phase at maintenance, which means your calories are the same, give or take, like they could be like, I say within 100 is a maintenance on either end.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be specific with it. You can be at maintenance, but you have to increase your protein, you have to increase your carbs, and your fats can increase as well. Obviously, fats will make up for the most of the calories if they're at the same proportion as the other two. But, so you want to just increase the fats a little bit less, 2.5 times less.
So essentially that's the whole idea of a surplus. You're at your maintenance caloric intake, and you just increase the macros.
Just a little bit. And the format for which we say that surplus should go.
40, 40, 20. So
explain that. What did you say? 40, 40, 20.
I was gonna get to it, dude.
40, 40, 20. End the video.
So 40, 40, 20. 40 grams.
40%.
40%. Don't do grams. It's a lot. 40% of protein, 40% of carbohydrates, and 20% of fats.
And this is what your new surplus is being made of. So that doesn't like designate to any amount. That's just whatever amount you're gonna do. Mm-hmm. That's what it's gonna be made of. And why do we increase by these numbers?
So you need to increase the protein, of course, because you're getting an increase in muscle protein synthesis. So that means your body's putting on more muscle mass. Mm-hmm. You're increasing the carbs so that your body can use the energy from the carbohydrates.
Make sure your glycogen is at 100% as often as you can be. You're using that protein just for what it's meant to do, build muscle. You don't want to be dipping into anything else. Mm-hmm.
And the fat's just to create the atmosphere in your body for an anabolic response.
And with the protein, you definitely don't want to increase the carbs too much. You want to do a good amount until you're safe. The fat can be a little bit more susceptible to going up or down. The protein, don't go too high. You go to a limit, which we said no over 200. If you're like a huge person and you need more than that, then you can go over. But for just a normal, a normal as in the sense of you're not
even with very big people.
Yeah, even then you shouldn't really go too much higher than that at all.
Yeah, that's a little nuts.
So we say increase 40% if you're already at 200 or you're at like 180. Don't go over 200. Get the other calories from the fats. Don't like just spike the carbs out of nowhere that you'll bloat yourself, and you don't need that many carbs. You just want to make sure the glycogen is always there, and you use a little bit of extra carbs before the gym at the right nutrient timing, just to make sure that your lifts are powerful. And you just have the energy to get through your workouts like it's nothing. Your off season, your lifting should be enjoyable. You should be able to put up good numbers, which is what is called progressive overload.
Yeah. So progressive overload is week to week or month to month. You want to be increasing, whether it be sets, reps, your tempo.
Any of the modalities.
Your rest times are decreased.
What you superset together.
Yeah.
It's just things have to progress. If you do the same stuff, you're going to get the same results. And we'll do another video on modalities soon, because that's a whole another topic. But there are so many. People think that it's just weight is what has to go up and reps, but there are so many, and we'll go into that further. So just to run through the benefits of the lean bulk.
All right.
Your peak health is maintained throughout the year. So basically what that means is that when you grow on a daily basis and you don't lose yourself, you are in the best shape of your life day to day, and that's an amazing thing. That is what fitness is. Should be the goal of fitness, is to be in the best shape of your life. And don't worry, I'm not cutting you off. You're going to do all the biological nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'll just talk about the bro stuff. You want to look your best as often as you can look. So why would you not want to do that every day? And I get that that's a little bit demanding. There are days where you're going to cheat, days where you're going to fall back a tiny bit, but you never want to lose yourself to the point where you'll say, oh man, 3 months ago I was so much better than I am now. You want to be moving forward.
Yeah. So even with that being said, there's something to say about lean bulking, as in letting it
according to metabolism.
Yeah. So you have certain factors in your body.
He's so tired. Look at his eyes. It's 10:30 at night. We've been up since 7 a.m.
Work and whatnot.
Yeah. But just what it does for your metabolism. How keeping a steady diet can help your metabolism.
Yeah. So you want to just maintain homeostasis in your body. So when you're increasing these, so when you go through a phase of being in a surplus, you shouldn't add 50 calories. So let's say that's your decided surplus. This is just theoretical. Let's say you say 6 months, I'm going to increase my calories by 50
a day.
Yeah. And you're consistent as hell with it. 6 months come, you see some progress. Then you decide to do another surplus. Don't just take, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks, do that for 2 weeks, do that for 2 weeks. So if you're increasing it for 50 each 2 weeks, you may be overreaching, might be starting to put on fat, your metabolism
You could be
slows down.
underreaching as well.
Yeah.
You will have to test it.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Is check in the mirror,
The mirror is your best friend. The scale can be misconceiving, water retention, all that goes into it.
What the scale is good for, though, if you weigh yourself first thing every morning and you just take the weekly averages.
Steady. Yeah.
And you see the average is nothing drastic, but it's enough to the point where you're saying, okay, this isn't too crazy. I'm gaining a little bit of weight at a time. That's a good sign that you are definitely putting on muscle mass from your surplus.
And it just goes to show, just to end the lean bulk argument, a lot of people say that you can't stay lean and build muscle.
Yeah.
You'll see IFBB guys that are, and not even IFBB, just guys they're 180 pounds, they look like they're 240. It's body composition, it's body fat percentage, it's how much the difference between what muscle weighs to what fat weighs, and a lot goes into it that the scale can be so misleading. It explains how the guys that compete on the Olympia stage can cut down to 225 pounds in the classic division. They look like they're 270. And me personally, I've weighed within the 160 to 170 weight range for a long time. My numbers have all went up. I feel like I have progressed. I don't look like it right now because we are flat as a freaking pancake in this freezing weather, but you go watch the video we posted on Monday, the workout. No, don't watch that one. That was the leg day one. Watch the one 2 weeks ago. But, yeah, and in terms of that show aspect, you want to be able to progress as long as you can before, and not a show as the example, but we can use any one big event that you could be going to the beach and you want to look good for that hot girl over there or whatever. You just want that one day where you need to look at your best. You want to be able to progress as much as possible up to that day. When you go through a big bulking phase, you progress to about here, and then all this is cutting. No muscle gain. You're just losing the fat. If you lean bulk to here, then it's just like a week of little deficits, and then you're where you want to be. So if you cumulative, you add up what you can do on a dirty bulk and then a long cut, and what you can do on a long lean bulk, I think you get to the same spot.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And a lot of pictures you'll see of guys on Instagram or wherever, you'll look at their dirty bulk pictures and you'll look at when they cut. Nothing about the dirty bulk picture looks better than when they're cut. And they're shredded there. You can lose a little bit of that. You can be at where you can maintain. But their muscles are bigger, they're fuller, they're more vascular. It's just, you really gotta think about this. But it's time to get passionate. We're gonna tear down this dirty bulk argument right
also
now.
With that, just keep in mind,
after heat goes, I'm gonna start tearing stuff down.
Even like once a week, it's okay because food is social.
Yeah, we did the cheat meal video last week. Especially the good thing about off season is you don't have to look at your peak, and that's why we said that you can have that little cutting phase. You don't have to look your best. But when you've put on 80 pounds of fat, then
that's crazy.
You're gonna need a year. Like one of the guys, like Juan Diesel Morale, he works out at Bev Francis. He spoke about how he stays in a deficit for the 8 months up to the Olympia, from January to August is the 8th month of the year. But he stays in a deficit, but that doesn't mean that it's not because he's fat here. It's because he's in a small deficit, close to maintenance, with his protein high. Is like we said, the 40-40-20 is just our example. It's close. There's no way it's far off from that. And he just grows. He just grows up to that, and then probably come what's the month before August? July.
Dude, I'm really tired.
He'll do a little cut, and he's ready to go. But let's talk about
dirty bulking.
Dirty bulking. All right. So.
All right. First off, there's no excuse for eating tons of donuts.
Yeah. Like the biggest.
This whole thing with just eating garbage, saying
bulking season.
You just justify being a slob.
Yo, how cool is it that the mic is covering the heater? Or is that you? Oh, damn it.
No.
Wait, what? It is the mic.
It is. It's pretty good.
Keep going.
All right, so once you reach...
And you look like garbage when you do it! Did that come out?
Yeah. You know how many people just unsubscribed?
Go ahead.
All right, so once you keep eating like that, you're gaining weight, of course. You're gaining weight. There is a threshold that once you gain too much percent of fat, that your muscle synthesis eventually decreases because of all the fat cells in your body. There's certain hormones that come into play with this, and just it's counterintuitive to your goals.
Now the only way that, because when you decrease the efficiency of that body composition, so someone who is like a low percent body fat, high muscle, low fat, they burn through their calories a lot easier than someone who is high fat, low muscle mass. So when you go through this dirty bulk phase and you spike your fat like crazy, the only way that your metabolism would stay the same is if you increased your muscle mass at that same rate, and that really isn't possible to do. You can't gain as much muscle as fat, because gaining fat is as easy as 3,500 calories, which is, if you surplus, that could be 3 days of eating.
Yeah.
It doesn't take 3 days to put on 1 pound of muscle. If it did, then we would be a lot bigger. But yeah, so that's why we advocate more for that small surplus and tracking periodization, progressive overload, 1 rep maxes, and tracking everything, because you're not going to increase your numbers as much as you're increasing your fat. It's not going to happen.
There's a point where you reach a point of diminishing returns. And what I mean by diminishing returns is that you're going to get a lot for your work in the short term, but as the long term comes to fruition, you're going to see your progress just totally come to a plateau.
Yeah, and you plateau like crazy, because at that point you're completely relying on that calorie surplus to increase your numbers, because your muscle mass isn't increasing at the rate that you think it is.
Yeah.
So now you're just counting on the fact, I was 180 pounds, now I'm 220. My muscle mass didn't increase too much, but I should be able to do this. And that worked for a little bit. As you increased and you got heavier, your squat went up, your deadlift went up just because you were heavier. But eventually you can't rely on that. It's gonna fizzle out. If it was that easy, then this is why people would do it more often. If it was that easy to just increase your weight like crazy and then you lift crazy, you plateau.
Yeah.
You just plateau and your numbers won't go up at the rate you think they will.
Because once you're at the point of that super bulk, I guess we could call it, where you really, you're looking pretty tubby, things aren't looking so good.
Peace of love.
Your body recognizes
whale.
that as its homeostatic state.
Bubba Gump.
Yeah, Jelly Belly. So once it's at that homeostatic state, it justifies that, okay, let me just stay here. I need X amount of calories. And, you will get stronger in the beginning with adding weight.
Definitely.
If you're accustomed to strength training like
initially,
that.
yeah, your strength will
but
go.
It's going to taper off. And eventually you're just going to have to, like what Ryan said before, just work your way back to where you were. And you're also going to lose strength once you start losing weight.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and with the small surplus, the thing about that is you never have to lose that strength. If you go through like a 2-week cut, you're not going to lose that much. You might really not lose any strength through that. If all of your numbers are reliant on your body fat, then when you cut and your body fat's gone, your numbers are going to be gone. It's that simple. And like Mike just said with working back, when it gets time to cut, and people fall into this all the time, and this is something that changes people's lives completely. When it gets time to cut after a long, dirty bulk and you can't do it because you can't lose that 40 pounds of fat you put on, you don't want to. It's not that you can't, you can, but you don't want to. You don't want to get back to dieting. You're enjoying this new lifestyle. You're effectively screwed now, because you have changed your entire lifestyle around eating like this, and now to get back, so many people fall into this. There's no going back.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous to do.
So,
and that's on a psychological level that it's dangerous.
Yeah, it is easy to fall into, because also with social
why
media.
do you look so much wider than me right now?
It's definitely the angle.
Keep going.
Or the hoodie. So, even with social media, you see all these people bulking, and then they cut down. They look pretty good. It's definitely biologically not correct for the fact that you need to bulk like that. You could definitely create a small surplus over a sustainable period of time. That too, you want it to be sustainable. Because if it's something that's so sporadic and you're not consistent with it, you're going to see sporadic results.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you need to be very consistent on either side of the spectrum.
And consistency in the sense of, that doesn't mean like you're killing yourself day in and day out. Consistency as you're doing the same thing every day. So if you're living like you should in off season and you have a cheat meal set and this day you're going to refeed, it doesn't mean that we're completely strict every single day. That just means that if you're doing it that way, then next week do it that way as well. You're more free. And
it also takes a bit of skill as well when you're lean bulking. Because
definitely.
Being in a surplus, you are definitely going to put on
this
a little bit of body fat.
This is a program, lean bulking. Lean bulking is a program.
Yeah, but it's year-round. It's a year-round program. That's why they usually say bodybuilding is year-round, because you're always eating.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was I saying?
that lean bulking is tougher to do.
That's tough.
It's program. It takes skill.
Yeah, so it takes skill. What I meant by that is that you're definitely going to put on a bit of body fat,
Yeah,
but
okay.
you could also throw in mini cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So those mini cuts are just they could reset your metabolism or improve it, and then from there you could just continue with your surplus.
Mini
and then
cuts
you just
can be
repeat
so
that cycle
easy
over and
too.
over again.
They can be so easy to do.
Yeah.
There's changes in rep schemes, changes in the cardio. You don't even have to touch the diet sometimes. A lot of guys don't even touch the diet, eat the same thing. They just change up their
routine.
their TDEE, total daily
Yeah.
energy expenditure. You change it a tiny bit, and that mini cut is done. I did that for a little bit. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, and
And,
even if your lifestyle doesn't permit you for more time at the gym, so you can mini cut, just go to the calories.
Yeah, and then
Just to
you
track.
just edit the diet a little
Yeah.
bit if you can't
You
put
can-
in an extra 30 minutes of cardio. That's
Yeah.
completely possible, understandable. But yeah, just to finish up, like the mantra has been for many of our videos, we did SARMs, we did cheat meals, and now we're doing the dirty bulk. All correlated in the sense that there's a lazy way to do fitness and there's a difficult way to do it. And when you go around this, it is the most life-changing thing that you can do, is to lead a fitness lifestyle that is programmed, consistent, and you really change who you are. If you fall into that laziness, then this is representative of the rest of your activities. You're going to be lazy in everything. If you decide that you can take 8 months off from dieting and training a certain way, then why couldn't you take a leap year from college? Why
Yeah.
couldn't you take, when you lose a job, why don't you go and start searching the day after? You know, those are just some examples on a larger scale. But yeah, it's definitely a sign of being a little more lazy when you fall into that dirty bulk. And
It's also a sign of being uneducated.
and uneducated. Yeah, that too. Because one of the what this podcast is based on is we take fitness fads, and a fad is something that is in because it's appealing to people, and we kind of tear it down. The other two videos, SARMs and cheat meals, we didn't tear down. If you know your stuff, those things can be very useful to you. This is a teardown. Dirty bulking is an uneducated idea. If you look at the guys who used to bodybuild in the 70s before all these, and I want to talk about supplements a tiny bit too, about how the pro guys use it to work their dirty bulk. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you look back in the 70s and 80s, these guys were never in a big off season. Like Arnold, all those guys, you look at them in their off season, they looked freaking great. They were a little bit bigger. They weren't shredded, but by no means were they puffy and out of this shape where they could go on the beach or go onto stage or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just real quick about the supplementation. Don't use people who you know are on anabolics as examples. When you do a dirty bulk, if you are taking like Anavar, you are taking different steroids that are cutting steroids. They help maintain muscle mass as you lose body fat, and they increase your heart rate so you lose body fat faster. Then dirty bulk all you want, because you already lost.
Yeah.
Can I say that? You already lost, so you can dirty bulk at that point, because then you will keep your muscle mass, you'll keep your strength when you're taking that stuff as you lose the fat. But that's a different argument in terms of steroids.
It is.
Anything else you want to cover?
No, pretty much in summary, lean bulk, stay consistent with it. Use the mirror, track your progress little by little. Just take small steps at a time. Don't dirty bulk, because you will mess a few things up unless you're one of those people who are just inclined to eating like crazy. And
Then you better work like crazy.
Yeah.
You can eat whatever you want as long as you work like a freaking madman. But you don't have to work like a madman. Just
Nah.
eat.
yeah,
Eat better. But we're done for today.
Yeah.
Next week we're gonna do some workout formats.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get another guy in here who knows a little bit about 3 guys in a garage just talking about fitness. You know what I'm talking about? But stay tuned for our workout videos.
while Ryan flexes, he'll be in the same seat flexing until next week.
That got really good.
Yeah.
That was good. See? This helps.